affirming a bloc which some have described as an alternative to the G7. Representing China, Brazil, South Africa, India and Russia, the nations account for more than 40% of the world's population and nearly a quarter of global GDP. The response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine was front and center, with host Chinese President Xi Jinping opening the gathering by criticizing US-led sanctions.
We urge the world to reject the Cold War mentality and block confrontation, oppose unilateral sanctions and abuse of sanctions, and reject the small circles built around hegemonism.
At a BRICS business forum, he accused NATO of antagonizing Russia and said sanctions had turned the global economy into a weapon. The comments were echoed by Vladimir Putin, who made his first major diplomatic appearance since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Only based on honest and mutually beneficial cooperation can we find solution to the crisis situation in world economy because of the ill-conceived, egotistical actions of particular countries.
Putin said Russia had recently increased trade with BRICS partners, none of whom have supported sanctions against Moscow. China and India are key importers of Russian energy. Indian leader Narendra Modi, however, steered clear of mentioning sanctions. As a US nation, the leaders called for more dialogue between Russia and Ukraine and pledged to deepen cooperation in fighting COVID-19, counterterrorism, and economic recovery. China has proposed a free trade bloc among them.
Vladimir Putin's move is a major escalation in this crisis. First, he staged a televised meeting of Russia's National Security Council, where he made a show of considering appeals from his top aides on whether to recognize the two Russian-backed breakaway states in Ukraine as independent. Hours later, he made a televised address.
Look at the weapons of NATO. It would be possible for them to control Russia's airspace with medium and long-range missiles and ballistic weapons. They could attack sites throughout Russia in less than 30 minutes. I do not doubt they plan to attack, as they have in the past.
The self-declared republics of Donetsk and Luhansk are in a state of high alert after their leaders advised their people to evacuate and told them Ukraine is mounting an offensive. That's a claim Ukraine denied. That's because with formal recognition of independence, Russia could present itself as answering a request for help.
United States.
It says they're all intended to build up as excuses for Putin become so much worse for these people and millions of others. What was decided in the Kremlin on Monday
began its invasion of Ukraine. Kyiv applied to join the European Union. 4 months later, EU leaders at a summit in Brussels approved the request and put Ukraine on the path to future membership.
We have decided to grant candidate status to Ukraine and Moldova, and we are ready to grant candidate status to Georgia once priorities.
We have just received the European Union candidacy. This is a victory. We've been waiting for this for 120 days of the war and even 30 years of our independence.
It usually takes years for a country to gain candidate status after applying. Some EU officials said fast-tracking the process would prove the bloc's solidarity with Ukraine as it defends itself against Russian attacks. A sentiment echoed by the head of Ukraine's mission to the EU at a gathering in the city.
It's important for the whole country, for the whole society, and it's important also for the Ukrainian army to have a clear reason what we are fighting for. We are fighting for the future. We are fighting for the modern, independent, sovereign European country.
Countries have been waiting for more than a decade for progress on their EU bids. Leaders from the region were also in Brussels to urge EU officials to speed up the process. North Macedonia, Albania, Serbia and Montenegro are all candidate countries that want to achieve full membership. EU's approval of Kyiv's candidacy sends a strong message not only to Ukraine but also to Russia that despite Moscow's firepower and efforts, Kyiv is determined to look